Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, beta, today is lecture number 3 of business environment. So, we started about the organizations and their purpose. In Before proceeding further, let me recap previous lecture. So, in previous lecture, we studied about the responsibilities of two uh, sectors of organizations, and they were public sector and private sector. And today we are going to discuss the responsibilities of charity sector organizations and voluntary sector organizations. And besides this, we will be also studying a part of our learning outcome number 3, that will be the structure of different organizations. Right. So, objectives of today's class is students will be able to understand the responsibilities of organization, that is related to learning outcome number 2, and the students will be able to evaluate different types of organizational structures within an organization, that is related to learning outcome number 2. Sorry, the previous first one is related to learning outcome number 1, and the second one is related to learning outcome number 2. Let us first complete our LC number 1, which is the responsibilities of different organizations, or you can say different sectors. Responsibilities of organizations in voluntary sector. The voluntary sector refers to organizations whose primary purpose is to create social impact rather than profit. It is often called third sector, civil society, or not for profit sector. Okay, so if you people remember, we studied in our first lecture that voluntary sectors do not work for the purpose of revenue generation or profit generation. And if in case some profit is generated or some funds are being given to the organization, then that profit or a fund is used for the betterment of the organization or the betterment of the community itself. Okay, the profit is not at all used for the purpose of wages or used in the form of profit as well. So they are separate from the state and private sector. Yes, it is. They are different from public and private sector because they are neither aided by the government nor they are supervised by some other organizations or collaborated by some other organization from the private sector. Non-profit distributing. These are some of the salient features of any organization working in the voluntary sector. Non-profit distributing. They do not distribute the profits to owners or directors, but reinvest them in the organization or use them for the benefit of the community. Okay, so this is the same thing that I just told you people. They do not utilize profit for the purpose of salary or wages of the employees of the institution or even the owners of the institution. Self governance. They are truly independent in determining their own course. Okay, none of the people who own the voluntary sector organization or who are looking after the voluntary sector organization, they none of them are dependent upon other organizations or the government. They are their own bosses and they can tell themselves in a better way that how they will lead their organization, because they are not working on the agenda of profit, on the agenda of revenue generation, or on the agenda of fame. So that is why they work very calmly in their respective path, or you can say they just work for the philanthropic purpose for the betterment of the citizens of that country. Like the private and statutory sector is again the word used for public sector or the government sector. The voluntary sector covers a vast range of activities from the social and cultural to the environmental and political purpose. By far, the largest grouping of voluntary activities encompasses the health and social welfare. It is within this field of activity that earliest references to geographies of voluntary activity can be found. Okay, because with the passage of time, if any voluntary sector organization is working very efficiently, very actively, then with the passage of time, there are chances that the same organization may spread throughout the country. Okay, and usually a time comes when the voluntary sector organization becomes a part of political campaigns or health campaigns, people take the benefit of these voluntary organizations, and they stamp their own names on these voluntary organizations because they are working just for the sake of achievement of high standards of living in the society, for high standards of living for the citizens of that country. Okay, so they are just working without any purpose. They are working, and if someone is working purposeless, I mean, without he do not have the thirst of getting fame, then if any other person who can take the you can say, okay, who can take their name, who wants to own them just in the form in papers or just on television, then they do not take part, and in or they don't come in their way, or they these sectors, these organizations don't create hurdles. So that is why sometimes it has been observed that these voluntary organizations are they do not directly play their part in political campaigns or health campaigns, but some other people take their name. They say that they own these organizations and they work for the benefit of mankind. They want to invest their energy in making their life better. Okay, so that is why they become a part of these organizations, become a part of political campaigns. Otherwise, they are not actually part of the campaigns. Okay, so people start owning them just in papers or just on social media. But in actual events, any organization is not working for the purpose of profit, then how come it is possible that they are working for the purpose of fame, or they are working for being the part of any political party? Okay, the role of the voluntary sector is determined by the motivation and behavior of those who undertake voluntary roles rather than the needs of the population that is served. Okay, so the role of voluntary sector is basically determined by the motivation or behavior of the people, of the employee, or of the person who basically own that organization, how much they are motivated to serve the mankind. Is it just a formality? Do they just did they just want to create that organization and now they have forget the organization, or whether they are highly motivated and they are highly ambitious to achieve their purpose of serving the mankind? So because they are out of the race of profit generation, so therefore the only thing that determines their success is the motivation. This has led to criticism that voluntary effort is sometimes misdirected, sometimes tied to ancient causes rather than modern problems, and often not available where it is most needed. Voluntary sector effort has been seen as producing undesirable social effects. For example, monasteries in the Reformation or indiscriminate charity in the 19th century were criticized for supporting and encouraging the vagrants. Okay, because it is seen that whenever someone start doing some positive thing, they start serving the mankind, every other organization tries to put them down. So mostly the voluntary sector organizations have been a victim of this thing, because they work for the homeless people, they work for the needy people, the people who are suffering, they do not have the home. So that is why in the 19th century, example is given over here, that in the 19th century the indiscriminate charity and the monasteries in the Reformation, this is the same name for one voluntary organization. It was this voluntary sector organization faced a lot of criticism or a lot of hurdle in 19th century. Why? Because it was assumed that this organization support vagrants. Who are vagrants? I hope all of you know that who are vagrants. So it is not a bad thing to support homeless people, or the uh, you can say the people, the person who just roam about in the country or in the area, or the drunk people, if someone is supporting them, someone is providing them shelter, someone is providing them food, then this doesn't mean that they are supporting the vagrants, they are supporting the alcoholic people. They are just providing them the shelter. However, it has been observed that such kind of organizations face a lot of criticism for their work, or maybe other organizations do not want them to work voluntarily, or to work without the purpose of revenue generation, or they want to take their crown on their head. Okay, so if I give you example, then Abdul Star Idi also faced a lot of criticism in Pakistan for supporting the homeless people, for supporting those people who were illegally born, and they were thrown out on the trash by their parents. So that is why many voluntary organizations, even the charity, they faced criticism, or they have been facing criticism from the previous century. Okay, so next is responsibilities of organizations in charity sector. A charitable organization or charity is an organization whose primary objectives are philanthropy and social well-being. For example, educational, religious, or other activities serving the public interest or common goods. Okay, now the voluntary sector organizations, they have only one agenda. They work for the betterment of living standard of human beings or the citizens of that country. Charity sector organizations, they are mostly focused on a single aim, like they are aimed to provide education to the citizens of that their community, or they are aimed to provide some religious institutions to the citizens of that country, or maybe they also aim to provide hospital or health facilities to the citizens of that specific area in which the charity sector organization has been developed. Okay, so this is another difference between the voluntary and the charity sector organizations. And why is yes, please. And why is this difference exists between the two organizations? Because the charity sector organizations, they get funds from other organizations, they get funds from the government sometimes, and the government directly plays their part in the awareness campaigns of the charity sector organizations. So means they have complete financial support. So that is why they can provide customized care or customized aid to the citizens, to the people. While the voluntary sector organizations are voluntarily created by its owners, so therefore they have to work within their financial budget, and mostly they provide just food and shelter to the homeless people, or they also provide financial aid to the needy people in their community. But besides this, they cannot provide higher, or you can say better necessities like educational institutions, building up of educational institutions, or the religious institutions, or the hospitals. Charitable organizations often depend partly on donations from the businesses. Such donations to charitable organizations represent a major form of corporate philanthropy. So we discussed it already that they get fund from other organizations or the businesses as well. By the same token, the primary justification for voluntary activity has been rooted in the position of those who give rather than those who receive. Okay, so of course, the main purpose of the charity sector organization, that is the philanthropy and the maintenance of living standard of any community, is of course it can be actually done only when someone is supporting or someone is financially aiding the charity sector organization. And the position of the charity is determined by the person, the financial status of the person who is funding the charity sector organization. Okay, so normally if any middle class person or lower middle class person is providing financial aid to any charity, then of course he will not be able to provide charity in terms of lakhs, or you can say crores. But if someone who is financially stable or quite well off, then of course he will be aiding the charity sector organization accordingly, and that organization will develop or will be positioned accordingly. Okay, now comes the management or administration or the operation of the complete charity, because it is a bigger organization as compared to voluntary organization. Therefore, management or administration, you can say, a number of people are required to control the management or administration of any charity organization. Management, administration, or operations. Like all good businesses, charities need a strong administration and operations management team at its core to work with logical, process driven, and likes to be highly organized. Because it is like the same organization as that of private sector organization or public sector organization. Therefore, it also requires some very able and highly trained individuals for the proper working of the charity, the organization. Personal and human resource. People, employees, and volunteers are crucial to the success of any given charity. In the human resource and personal department, you will be responsible for making sure that charity looks after its people and their well-being along with the training, development, and contractual arrangements. Okay, so here you will be responsible means that the person who is working in the personal or the human resource department. Okay, so these two departments are quite crucial department in any charity, and if you are working in one of the department, that is HRM or personal resource department, then of course you will be responsible for looking after the people or the citizens in your area, your assigned area. Okay, and you're also responsible for the training of the people in training of the employee in your organization. Okay, so if you are working in HRM or personal resource department, you are responsible for not only taking care of the people in that area, but also in training the individuals or the employees of your organization. So the charity who receives the most donations in UK is Gavi Alliance, a charity which draws together the major international bodies to fund immunization programs. Okay, so Gavi Alliance is a charity and it works only for the purpose of immunization programs for the children. Okay, so here you can say that it is a customized uh, uh, for charity, or you can say customized purpose charity, sorry, that works only on the purpose of immunization programs, and it is a UK based charity. Marketing, communications, and campaigning. Raising awareness of the charity in the hope that more people donate to it is vital. Because the charity is working on some focused programs, focused agendas, and for their success, they need to keep their funds updated. Okay, donations updated. This can come in the form of publicity, marketing, and communications, representing the organizations at events, organ- organizing large-scale fundraisers and awareness campaigns, or liaising with benefactors who will be making substantial donations. So, of course, marketing of any of charity organization is very important because they are working on a singular agenda or singular aim, and for the success of their organization or to keep that agenda going, they need their funds or the donations updated. And for that purpose, of course, they use their different marketing platforms. They uh, they do publicity of their organization through social media, physically through newsletters, and in the older times, sometimes even now, publicity can also be done through televisions, through the local cables or the other cables or other sources. Okay, so therefore, publicity is very important in getting more and more donations. Now, a lot of social media platforms have been uh, introduced in the community, and publicity is usually done through them. The voluntary sector and fundraisers, yes, fundraisers are even now in practice. Many fundraisers have been seen in the time of flood, or even in the time of COVID. Okay, the different fundraisers have been established in different areas of the country, almost every country, and people keep on donating to those fundraisers for the betterment of um, the patients suffering from corona, COVID. The voluntary sector is benefiting hugely from the social media as it enables fast, effective targeting of potential donors, volunteers, and contributors for fundraising and other campaigns aimed at internet users. So, of course, internet is one of the biggest platform that can be used for the publicity of any organization. And if it is a voluntary or the charity organization, then of course it is understood that a number of people will participate. Even out of the country, people also participate in these fundraising programs if it is done through internet. This area is growing all the time, and there are now dedicated digital jobs available in this sector. Yes, not only fundraising, but also digital jobs or virtual jobs are also available for this purpose. Many charities hire their virtual employees just for the purpose of getting donations from different people. Volunteer management. Volunteer managers tend to be responsible for recruiting, interviewing, and managing a charity's volunteer network. Organization will devise and implement the training programs and deliver awareness initiatives to drive volunteer numbers upward. Organizations work on a local, national, or even global level and helping to drive its strategy. Okay, so all the employees present in the charity organizations are not paid. They do not get the pay, but a number of people work voluntarily for the purpose of uh, serving mankind. Okay, and charity usually try their best to hire a number of volunteer people as much as it can. Okay, so in this way, the profit will not go into the pocket of their employees, rather, the profit will go into the pocket of owners. Policy development and research, and they do not just hire the volunteer people, they also train them, they provide them with many training sessions, training programs, and after that, they provide them different tasks or different work. Policy development and research. Charities need to raise their awareness, and part of this is providing the research, insights, and analysis required to influence the debate. Okay, so awareness is also as important as the fundraising is. Fundraising will only be done when the charity is quite famous or people know about the charity. And how do the people will know about the charity? Only when charity could arrange the seminars or arrange different campaigns in order to spread its awareness. And of course, for spreading awareness, influential debates must be arranged, and the seminars should be quite influential from their charity point of work. Okay, so therefore, awareness should be done in order to get more and more funds and donations. Fundraising. Even every charity exists to raise money for its cause through fundraisers, but there is more to charity work than calling door to door, rattling your tin. Okay, so instead of going from door to door and distributing their letters, so it is better to spread their awareness and to ask for donation through the fundraisers programs. Fundraisers or the trust fundraisers will have to apply for funding from large organizations by putting together funding proposal. So another benefit of fundraiser programs or fundraisers is that if you go door to door to get the donations, what you can get is only a few cents, only a few rupees. But if you arrange fundraisers program, fundraiser schemes, then of course higher organization, larger organizations provide you funds, and of course those funds will be quite enough for proper functioning of the organization. It's a real blend of marketing and sales in a business environment. There is a wide range of specialist fundraising roles in charities these days: community, corporate, direct marketing, events, legacy, major donor, regional, statutory, and trust. Okay, so these are some form of fundraising programs. Why it is said that it is a blend of marketing and sales in a business environment? Why fundraising is a blend of marketing and sales? Because you are creating awareness of your organization, you are doing marketing of your organization, and also you are getting funds, you are getting donations. So therefore it is said that it is a blend of marketing and sales. And also there is a number of a range of fundraising programs, fundraising styles, you can say, how you can do the fundraising for your charity. Direct marketing, you can arrange events, you can arrange seminars, you can also get funds through major donors, okay, regional donors. Statutory means you can get the funds through government and trust. So these are all major forms of getting funds or fundraising procedures or processes, you can say. Of course, every charity is structured a little differently, but almost all of them, no matter how big or small, require experts. These could be scientific researchers, lawyers, human rights specialists, and so on. Okay, so whether because the charity is a proper organization, irrespective of voluntary, so therefore it requires skilled persons, highly trained persons for its proper functioning. Now, whether if it is focused on the aim of providing legal aid to the people, then of course lawyers can also supervise these organization, and any human rights specialist can also supervise these organizations. So whether the supervisor, or you can say the manager of the organization, is related to different field, it doesn't matter, but there should be some skilled person, some highly efficient person who will be looking after the total working of any organization. Okay, so this was all about the responsibility and as well as the framework of voluntary and charity sector organization. If you have any question up till now, do ask me, and do tell me, is everything clear to you?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, good. And what about you?
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
we can say marketing, volunteer, and fundraising. All
Mm-hmm.
these three are interconnected with each other.
Yes, exactly. As it is written over here, that it is a blend of marketing and sales. So, why it
Yes.
is written? Because all of these three things are related to each other. Okay.
Jazakallah.
I mean, thank you. Okay, beta. So, let us proceed towards the learning outcome number two, that is, understand the structure of organizations. So, now we will be studying the different kinds of structure within any organization, the type of structure that are present within the organizations. Let us see first what is organizational structure. Okay, so assessment criteria is evaluate the different types of structure found within the organization. What is organizational structure? OS. Organizational structure is the systematic arrangement of human resources in an organization so as to achieve common business objectives. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of every member of the organization so that work and information flows seamlessly, ensuring the smooth functioning of an organization. Okay, so what is organizational structure? It is systematic arrangement of human resources, means systematic arrangements of appointments of people or the employees in any organization who are working together on a single agenda, on a single business objective. Okay. So if we arrange all the appointments, all the designations in any organization, and they keep on working in their respective paths in order to achieve a single aim, that is known as organizational structure. Okay, now the objective can be, if it is hospital, then objective is attaining the health of people or maintaining the health of patients. If it is a business, the business objective is business, import export business, then of course the agenda will be import and export. If it is a business of sports related thing, then the objective is to prepare the sport related things. Okay, and similarly a number of businesses are present in our community. So when all of the people in the organization, all of the employees of the organization, they work systematically, they work collaboratively, then of course they will be able to achieve their result, their destination. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of every member of the organization so that work and information flow seamlessly, ensuring the smooth functioning of an organization. Of course, this is the condition for the proper functioning of any organization. Although everyone will work accordingly, will do his part of job, but they need to flow the information among them seamlessly. Okay, because only if they collaborate with each other, only then they will be able to make the organization reach its objective purpose. Organizational structure, another definition is written over here: a system that outlines how certain activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of an organization. Okay, so here it is illustrated that how certain activities or how certain tasks they are directed in any organization to achieve the goal, to achieve the main purpose. Okay, if you say, if sorry, if you see a pyramid is drawn over here, and on the top of the pyramid is the boss or the manager. Then at the second level, sorry, on the top is CEO or the boss. On the second level are the managers, then come the lower level managers, then the employees, then the lower level employees. Maybe there are some other designations or other appointments that may be present in this level, but you can say it is a rough sketch. It is drawn over here just to make you people clear that what is a pyramid, how does it look like, and how we can fix the organizational structure on a pyramid. Understanding an organizational structure. Why it is important to understand an organizational structure? Businesses of all shapes and sizes use organizational structures heavily. They define a specific hierarchy within an organization. A successful organizational structure defines each employee's job and how it fits within the overall system. Put simply, the organizational structure lays out who does what so the company can meet its objectives. Okay, organizational structure. Why it is important to have a proper organizational structure? Before, if because if a proper structure is not present within the organization, then no one will know that who is going to do what, who will be responsible for what. If there is a proper structure present within the organization, then it will be clear to every person within the organization that what are his responsibilities, what are his rules. So why is it important to have a structure? Because if you want to keep the information flow from one appointment to other appointment, and if you want that every person present in your organization must know that what are his roles and responsibilities, what is his duty, then of course there should be a proper organizational structure. This structuring provides a company with a visual representation of how it is shaped and how it can be best moved forward in achieving its goals. Organizational structures are normally illustrated in some sort of chart or diagram like a pyramid, where the most powerful members of the organization sit at the top. while those with the least amount of power are at the bottom. Okay, so it is very important to have a proper structure, because if you are not if you do not have a proper structure of your organization, then you will be unable to make everyone clear about their job or about the nature of their assigned task. Okay. So usually it is present in the form of pyramid, where the powerful members are at the top of the pyramid and the members with the least power are at the bottom of the pyramid. Not having a formal structure in place may prove difficult for certain organizations. For instance, employees may have difficulty in knowing to whom they should report. That can lead to uncertainty as to who is responsible for what in the organization. Okay, so this is another drawback. If you do not have a proper structure in your organization, your employees will be unable to get that to whom they should report their work, to whom they should report to whom they should report any kind of difficulty within the organization, or to whom they should convey the important things. Okay, because they do not know who is the boss, they do not know who is the manager, who is the supervisor. So there are just workers who are working day and night, and they do not know to whom they have to report to, from whom they need to they will get the wages. So proper organizational structure must be present in any organization. The organizational structure also determines how information flows between levels within the company. For example, in a centralized structure, decisions flow from top down, while in a decentralized structure, decision making power is distributed among various levels of organizations. Having an organizational structure in place allows companies to remain efficient and focused. Okay, so mainly there are two kinds of structure, that is centralized and decentralized. In centralized structure, decisions flow from top to bottom, that is, it is present in the form of hierarchical form or in the form of pyramid. The boss or the CEO is present at the top of the pyramid, while the rest of all employees are present in the bottom of the pyramid or at different levels from top to down. While in a decentralized structure, every person is his own boss. Decision making power is distributed among various levels within the organization. So, proper organizational structure allows the company to remain efficient and focused. Why it will remain efficient and focused? Because of the proper organizational structure. Because everyone will know that what is his prime job, what is his duty. So, of course, the organization will work properly. Now, the types of organizational structure are main topic that we are going to cover today. Half of the topic we will cover today, half of the topic, and inshallah, rest of the topic will be covered in next class. Types of organizational structure. Organizations implement different types of OS depending on the nature of their business, needs of customers, types of the products in demand, and services required. Here are some of the popular organizational structure. Okay, so organizational structure. Which organizational structure will be present in the organization? It depends upon a number of factors. And these number of factors include the nature of the business, whether it is medical or health related business, whether it is some import export business, a manufacturing business, or some other kind of business. So nature of the business determines that what organizational structure will be present in the organization. Second is the need of customers. How much customer do you want to earn through your business? Which type of product do you want to sell or prepare through your business? And the services, okay, required services. It also determine that what type of structure will be present in your organization. So some of the important or popular OS are hierarchical organization, flat organization structure, Platarchy organizational structure, functional, divisional, matrix, centralized versus decentralized, and departmentalization. Although centralized and decentralized organizational structure is the basic structure, and while rest of all the structure are further their types or subtypes, but here it is categorized separately for better understanding. Okay, first one is the hierarchical. This is a type of centralized organizational structure. Okay, so you can see here it is written that it is type of centralized organizational structures. Now, what is centralized organizational structure? That has pyramid type of structure and where the information flows from top to bottom. There is hierarchy of workers with the leaders at the top, the workers below, and the supervisor placed in between to get the work done. It is most of a linear OS where the delegation of power emanates from the top management. It is widely popular form of OS and is seen in companies like Amazon. This system concentrates decision making at the top level. As a result, the organization suffers from a lack of creativity as innovative ideas have to work their way up through the various levels of management. Also, each employee communicates with their immediate superior and subordinates only. This reduces the coordination of various levels of power and departments. Nevertheless, it is a salient feature of most government organizations. Okay, so it is type of centralized organizational structure. Second important thing is it is seen in most of the government organization. In this kind of OS, the leaders are present at the top, the workers are present at the bottom, and the supervisors are present in between the leaders and the workers to supervise the work of the workers or the employees. Okay, now innovation or the creativity cannot be included in this organizational structure. Why? Because the creativity has to move a long way from the workers to the top, you can say, management level, and through their move from bottom to top, a number of designations are involved which may deny your work, or you can say which may change your work a little bit, so your innovation will be omitted when it will reach the top level management. So therefore creativity cannot be added. And secondly, when decision making powers are in hand of the leaders, so therefore you are unable to add your creativity, you are unable to add the innovation, you have to do the work as it is devised or as it is narrated by the top level management. So the biggest example of hierarchical structure is Amazon. And so whether we take it in a positive sense or a negative sense, the coordination is also reduced among the different levels of the pyramid. Okay, so there are no doubt two aspects of this thing. The reduced coordination is, if we take it positively, that reduced coordination is present, it means that the person who is giving the direction, that is the CEO, everything will be done according to him, everything will be done according to his strategy, and the work will be delivered just as it was directed to the worker. And if we take this thing in the negative perspective, that how the reduced coordination is a negative thing, then of course workers, there is a communication gap between the workers and the CEO. Workers have to report to the supervisor, supervisors will report to the lower level managers, then managers, and then CEOs. So a long chain is present among the workers and the CEO. So there will be less coordination. They do not, they cannot convey their thinking, their thought, their ideas to the CEO directly. So that is why creativity will be reduced. Okay, so this was hierarchical organizational structure. Next is flat. This organizational structure is devoid of any hierarchy. No one commands or controls the employees. So therefore, it means that it is a type of decentralized structure. No one commands or controls the employees. Instead, decisions are made at every level of management. So everyone is his own boss. Therefore, it is usually used in small companies with a few employees or new startups. However, with time and business growth, some form of hierarchy creeps into the organization. Otherwise, it may cause chaos and inefficiency in the organization. Okay, so a flat organizational structure is a kind of decentralization organizational structure. And here, the decision making power is present at every level. Everyone is his own boss, so therefore, everyone will work efficiently because he is responsible for his job, his work. So, this kind of structure is usually seen in the new startups or the small companies. However, with the passage of time, when the company will become bigger, will grow, then of course the hierarchy may enter into the organization, and the organizational structure will be converted from the flat to hierarchical organizational structure, because when a number of employee will be involved in the organization, then it is practically impossible to have a flat OS. Then of course someone needs to take the seat of boss. Flatarchy, it includes features of both hierarchical and flat OS. It is a temporary form of OS that comes into existence only when a new product is created, a new service is being tested, or when a company seeks to develop a new customer support system. By employing Flatarchy, an organization can have a specialized team to handle the development of a new products or services more creatively and efficiently. It is best tool for an organization to tackle the change in the market or industry sentiments without creating capital intensive department or reforming the OS. Okay, so Flatarchy is the organizational structure that is also present in the new company or the new startups, or when a new product is created, when only one person is present, only a single individual is present. He is the boss, he is the worker, he is the employee. Okay, so then the organizational structure that is present is Flatarchy. Flatarchy and flat structures are almost similar to each other, but there is a doubt that flat OS may remain flat OS throughout the presence of the organization. But in Flatarchy structure, it is understood that once the business will start establishing, then it will take form of the hierarchical structure. Okay, specialized team will be hired for the conversion of Flatarchy OS to hierarchical OS. So therefore, it may not hinder the business of the organization, and some other hurdles will not be created also, and smoothly the organizational structure will shift from the Flatarchy to the hierarchical structure. Next is functional. The functional organizational structure creates a fixed set of departments based on a certain functions like human resource, accounts, marketing, etc. It segregates the workforce based on the requirements of each department. For example, an accounting department will employ accountants and work to manage the firm's finances in the best possible manner. Likewise, the HR department will look after the recruitment, payroll, and administration of the firm. Moreover, the functional OS allows all the employees to work for a particular functional role without worrying about the other departments. So, for example, a sales executive won't be worried about a firm's accounting work and vice versa. Okay, so functional organizational structure is seen in bigger organizations where where the departments are quite huge. So, therefore, functional OS will be present in the departments of that organization. For example, HR department will have functional OS, accounts department will have functional OS, similarly marketing and finance department, administration department. Okay, all of the departments will have functional OS. Now, functional OS means that you will be directed, you will be working, all the employees will be working on a similar function, on a similar agenda. within an organization and they are not connected to the working of other departments. Okay, beta, sure. Please ask.
Ma'am, ma'am, so basically functional departments can essentially survive without the other departments being present.
Functional
They're
department. Yes, please finish it.
they don't need help of any other department. They can do anything on their own.
Yes, exactly. They have their own managers, they have their own workers, or you can say employees, and all of them will keep working on just a single thing. They will keep on working on their own track, and they will not bother about the functioning of other departments of the same organization. Okay, so for example, if HR department, the workers of the HR department will not bother about the working of the finance department or the administration department or the IT department. Okay, they are just responsible for their work, the work of their department. Okay,
Jazakallah khair.
okay, I mean, thank you. Next is divisional. This type of organizational structure comes into play when a firm has grown exponentially to become a giant in its sector. For example, a giant clothing company will require separate divisions based on customer groups, product types, and geographical locations. Here, it will create a ladies' fashion garment division, kids' wear division, menswear division, and affordable clothing division. Each division will have its own production, marketing, human resource, IT, and sales teams. In this manner, the company could manage the product lines or geography with all necessary functional resources. Okay, so divisional OS is seen in those firms that have grown on at a very big level, on a giant level. Okay, they have grown so much that their business is further subdivided into different kinds, different types, and they need a complete organization for their sub business, subdivision. Okay, for example, here the example is given related to some clothing brand. Okay, so this clothing brand has grown so much that they need to divide their ladies wear fashion, men's wear fashion, kids wear fashion, affordable clothing into separate organizations, or you can say separate divisions, and each division will further has its own IT, HR, administration, finance, and production department. Okay, ladies wear fashion has separate all departments, men's wear fashion has separate departments, similarly kids and affordable clothing. So their departments are having functional OS, their sub business like ladies fashion, men's fashion, kids fashion, affordable clothing, they have divisional OS. Okay, is this point clear to you people, both of you?
Can you repeat this?
Okay, and what about you, Eliza? Okay, Tessin, I was saying that if a business is grown to a higher level, or well, it means giant level, now the business has been shifted from a business to a firm, then and it is required that you have to divide your business into different divisions. For example, I'll explain the example that is written over here. For example, you are having a clothing brand, your business has grown too much. Now you need to divide your clothing brand into different types like ladies fashion, men's fashion, kids fashion, and sales department or sales fashion, you can say affordable clothing fashion division. Four divisions. Okay, you have divided your clothing brand into four divisions, four different sectors, or if it is needed, then you may build a separate building for all of these four types of clothing, divisions of clothing. Okay, now the ladies fashion clothing will have separate departments from menswear clothing. Separate IT department, separate HR department, separate administration, separate finance department, separate production department, even. All of the four subdivisions of your business, or you can say all of the four different buildings. In some trends, it is seen that they have subdivided in their business into different categories, but all the categories are present in the same building. But many organizations divide their business into separate categories, and they build different buildings for each category. Okay, when now each category is divided, sorry, your business is divided into different categories, and every category has its own departments. It means that now the OS present within the organization is divisional OS. Okay, it is divided into further categories, four categories, four divisions, and every division has its own departments: IT, HR, and finance, administration, production. Okay, men wear fashion have its own department: production house, management department, administration department, IT, finance, HR, while the ladies wear fashion has its own department. So it means the departments will have the functional organizational structure that we have just studied, while the divisions or the organizations will have divisional OS. Okay, so whenever it is written that uh, so and so brand is having divisional organizational structure, it means it is a giant business and they must have many divisions for their firm or for their business. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Okay, next is matrix. Under this organizational structure, there is no clear demarcation of roles and responsibilities of resources. Resources may be shared across different teams to ensure their maximum utilization. It is least used OS, and it is quite complex and confusing and may prove counterproductive. You can say it is kind of improper organizational structure. There is no clear boundary for the roles and responsibilities of the employees. The employees have to play a dual role in this OS. For example, the customer service representative in many banks also acts as their cashier. It may reduce operating costs but badly affects the employee's quality of work and the firm's efficiency. It is a form of a decentralized organizational structure. Okay, such this kind of structure is known as improper organizational structure. It is a type of decentralized OS where everyone is his own boss, is responsible for his own work. And it is usually seen in government schools, government banks. It is mostly seen in government institutions where single person is serving two roles at a time. He is getting paid for one role, the basic role on the basic appointment on which he was appointed, but he is serving two roles, more than one role at the same time. Here, the example is given of customer care representative (CSR). So, CSR in many banks also play the role of their cashier as well, while he is getting the pay of only CSR, customer service representative. And same is the case with school teachers in government schools. Most of the time, a single teacher is taking class for of different subjects, while she is not specialized, or she is not specialist of all the subjects, while she is getting pay for being one subject specialist. Okay, so this is improper organizational structure, and it is a form of decentralized OS. So whenever this kind of structure is seen in any institutions, it means that the institution is not working well. It is not working efficiently, or we cannot trust that institution. Okay, so this was all about today's class. If you have any question, beta, do tell me, please.
No, ma'am. Alhamdulillah, it was clear.
Okay, now please, can you tell me, any one of you can tell me what is the difference between hierarchical and matrix structure?
Can I answer, ma'am?
Yes, sure, beta.
Ma'am, hierarchical structure is ev- is in levels. There is a
Mm-hmm.
different level for different people.
Mm-hmm.
The most basic level will be an employee, then a manager for that employee, then so forth till the CEO, board of directors. It, there are different levels, but in the Matrix OS, there are no levels,
Mm-hmm.
and an employee can, for example, an employee can be doing the job of a CEO as well.
As well as manager, you can say.
Yes, he can be
Yes,
doing the job of manager.
yes, exactly. He will be doing the job of more than one appointment. Okay, so beta, this was all about today's class. If you people face any difficulty while revising the lecture, you can ask me, okay? You can tell Miss Kenza and she will, of course, forward your query to me. Okay, beta, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Inshallah, see you in the next class. Okay, Allah
Inshallah.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, ma'am.